Hello everyone, it's Justine. Today I'm going to be making a card using the Peekaboo Trellis Panels Amazing Paper Grace Die of the Month from Spellbinders 2022. It's quite a mouthful. So if you're interested in learning about these dies, I will just talk about that here in a video clip that shows how to use them all. Here's a look at all of the dies. So these main panels are kind of the show piece of the card, and they are two large cutting dies. So I'll just show you what they look like if you were to kind of compare them to the size of an A2 card. So you could kind of get creative with the placement of these. And let's see, I guess I could measure it out here. They are about 7 1/4 inches long, and they are about 2 1/4 inches wide. Now, if you look carefully, you can see that it cuts, but it makes this panel effect. So I'll show you in a minute what these really look like on some paper. But there's this more of a vine and then more of a tropical leaf look. So two different looks. Then we have some large rose dies. Now these are layered dies, so it's the cutout of the background and then the leaves that would go on the flower. Now you could choose to die cut out this rose in two different ways. So I have a little example for you here. Now this is going to be for a different card, not for the card that I am working on today. So if you cut out the purple background with this die, and then you inlay, which means you use both of these together, and then die cut out the pink, you would get this. You would be left with a whole bunch of little pink pieces like this, and that's what you would use if you wanted to just free lay the die, the flowers. So once again, if you want this flower, you would first cut out purple with this. Then to get the pink section, you would use both of these dies, and that would give you the pink overlay. Then you would glue them together. Now if you wanted this, you would use just this one to cut out the purple and just this one to cut out the pink. And then you would have to glue on the pieces. My personal preference is this style because first, you don't have to rearrange all these little pieces of paper. Second, it is a little less time. So the fuss and the time, we're not. But they're two different looks, so both are fine, but just know what you're getting into. All right, if you have questions about this, let me know in the comments. I hope I made it pretty clear, but you never know. All right. Now we also have the two leaf dies. So same thing as the flowers with the layering. So there's an outside and an inside. Then there's these two little sprigs. One's more of a leafy one, and this is more of a, call it like the four fingers. But it's just a little sprig basically. Then it comes with 1 sentiment die that says hugs with a very Spellbinders-y font. This is how the panel turns out. So all I did to make this black piece was take a piece of cardstock, and this was cut to 3 3/4 by, let's see, 5 inches. 5 1/4, I guess. But basically I just cut it down to be layered on my card, so you can use whatever size you want. And then I just laid the die sideways like this, ran it through my machine, and it came out like this. Great, so now that we know all about the dies, I'm going to go ahead and make my card. So if you're new to the card world, this is a card base. It's very basic to start with, but that just means that this is what your project is going to kind of come to life on. Now I put a card panel on the front. That's just a piece of paper, and I just glued it down. So that's a very simple way to start. And I already went ahead and die cut out all of my little pieces of paper that I'm going to use to create my card today. So to do that, I used the dies and a die cutting machine that basically presses the die on top of a piece of paper very firmly, and it cuts the paper in just the right shape that you want. So now that that's all finished, I just get to rearrange my dies however I'd like them, glue them down, and that's kind of it. So it's kind of fun to make cards, you know? All right. I really like these little sprigs with the leaves missing in the background. It kind of adds a little mystery to the card. And I went with pink, purple, and black because it's kind of a fun look. And I've been really drawn to like the neon and black look recently. I think it's playful and I just really like the look of it. Maybe not everyone's cup of tea, but you could adjust the colors and, you know, make the same card with different colors. I haven't put that flower together all the way yet, but I will get there. Now I'll just talk about one method that I enjoy using, which is called the bouncing method. Sometimes I forget to use it, but for things like this that are pretty delicate, that need to be glued down, I will put liquid glue on like this, and instead of just squishing it down onto my next piece of paper, I'll take a scrap piece of paper or a post-it note like I have on my desk here, and just kind of pounce it on that paper first, and you can see there's a substantial amount of glue on here, and there's just enough on this die piece now to stick to the background die but not squish out the sides like so. So it's a pretty quick thing that saves you scraping time in the future. Now that I have my die arranged how I would like it, I am going to use some craft tape, which is just a low stick tape, and put it on my die cut pieces here so they don't wiggle around. There's a number of little frilly things, and I've arranged them, and once there's glue on the back, it's a little more difficult to arrange, so I just basically do this. You could do the same method with some cling wrap. I haven't tried that before. I just haven't, but I don't know. This seems to work fine for me, so if it's broke, then maybe I'll fix it later, but this works. So I'm going to hit the big areas first, and then focus on the more delicate areas and just give them a little glue so they're not moving, but not too much so it doesn't squish out the side onto that black background. But again, this liquid glue, it dries clear, so if it does go on that side, it's not the end of the world. Now that I have all the glue on my card where I would like it, I am going to just simply flip it on to my card front. And it's a little trickier to see if things are straight since I don't have one specific hard line to look at, but I'm just gonna eyeball it, and if it's crooked I might have to add some more things, but we will see. I'm going to just gently peel off my craft tape here and see how things look. Just kind of give it an extra little press. The nice thing about craft tape is you can, and it did what I hoped it didn't. Well, it is low stick, but some paper does stick to it, so beware. Learn from my mistakes. It's not that bad, so I'm going to leave it. But you could peel it off and put another rose on there. I don't mind that one. Alright, just adding a little more glue to the parts where with the craft tape the layers were not getting quite enough because of that big rose. Alright, I do think that this card needs a little bit of zhuzh or bling. I have these studs that I've wanted to use for a while, and this is kind of an edgy card, so we're gonna do it. And by we, I mean me. I am going to do it. So these are the Fashion Silver self-adhesive, and there's 120, which is a ton, so perfect. I'm just going to use assorted sizes and just stick them on. I like to work with odd numbers just because it kind of looks better. I think that this design would look really neat with a glimmered sentiment, so I might do that in the future, but it's not in the books for today, so not for today. But speaking of adding a little something extra, I'm going to use this rose that I made for my die cutting example and just put it inside my card, because in my mind there's really no point in just hanging on to this, and there's no point of throwing this away, so I'm going to use it. Just put it in the inside, and it's a nice little surprise for the recipient. So there is a look at my finished card. I hope you liked the video. If you're interested in the die set or these little gems, I will have those linked in the description below. And if you're interested in more videos using this die, I do have a number of videos coming out in July, and a couple of them are using this die. So if you're interested, subscribe and stick around. I will have a ton of videos coming out at the end of August for, if I said July before, I am so sorry. I meant August. I will have a lot of videos with the core collections that are coming out in August. They are so fun. They're really just fun. And I'm excited to make some cards with them. So we have some Christmas, we have some Halloween, we have just some really playful cards. So subscribe, stick around, and if you've liked today's video, please hit the like button. And if you have any questions, I'd love to help answer those in the comments below. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.